This content is brought to you by Link2, which makes private equity investment easy. Link2 allows you to get access to companies before they go public, before they do an IPO. Within their portfolio includes fintech companies, artificial intelligence companies, as well as crypto companies. Some of the big crypto companies in their portfolio include Circle, Ripple, Polysign, Chainalysis, Dapper Labs, Ledger, and many more. So it's a great way to diversify your portfolio to get access to equity. So you may invest in crypto, stocks, ETFs, but now you can get access to equity in these companies before they go public. And obviously that can be very beneficial from an ROI standpoint. So if you'd like to learn more about Link2 and diversifying your portfolio, please visit the link in the description. Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. With me today is Sean Lee, who is the co-founder and CEO of Magic. Sean, it is great to have you on the podcast.
Likewise, it's great to be here.
Sean, we were talking before the recording. I'm very excited to speak with you because Magic is building I think the solution I've been talking about and looking for a long time, and that is, how do we make crypto and Web3 easy for the next billion people to come on board who are not tech savvy and who are scared of seed phrases and long wallet addresses? Right? So I'm very curious as to what you guys are doing and how it all works. Before we get there, tell us about yourself. Where are you from and where'd you grow up?
Yeah, I actually grew up in China for the first 12 years of my life. And before I immigrated to Canada, spent my teenage year, my college years there. I went to Waterloo for software engineering before starting my own company with two of my classmates, which we sold later to a company called Docker in Silicon Valley. And the next incarnation of the product became Docker Desktop, which is very commonly used by developers building things in their local environment. So being in the dev tool and infrastructure space for some time, I caught the Ethereum rabbit hole end of 2016. So, I was aware of cryptocurrencies. I was aware of some decentralized technology like IPFS. But when I first saw Ethereum, that gave me the goosebumps. I feel like, we're finally able to see kind of more non-speculative use cases potentially built on top of the blockchain. I knew it was going to be a long road. So quickly thought if this were to take off, we would need the infrastructure to support the next billion mainstream users coming into crypto. So this is, started the company in mid 2018, around May, and very, very early. OpenSea was a pre-seed company. Uniswap wasn't founded yet. So it's a very, very different space. We were actually the first sort of alternative to some of the solutions back then that's using seed phrases like MetaMask for mainstream users. So we were the first SDK that created a Web3 wallet with Web2 style login, so email and SMS. So yeah, it's been a long road since, but yeah, that's a super quick intro here.
That's awesome. So you got a tech background, you got an entrepreneurial background, and looking to build, of course, in the crypto space, blockchain space. So tell us about Magic and the wallet services that you offer. Give us an overview of the different features and what makes it different from the other, Web3 wallets out there.
Yeah, for sure. So for one, it's a sort of white labelable SDK or wallet service. So for example, a brand or an application who is very, they need to create a fully branded experience. Magic can provide that to them. Instead of kind of onboarding end users to a separate wallet and go through a separate experience, they can ask their users to remain within their own user experience, onboarding experience, as to not dilute their brand. So so that's a really important aspect of what our customers are asking, especially brands and large enterprises. And it's really, really easy. We provide a variety of different login options. So email login, SMS login, social login, in order to create this wallet, which is what the companies or customers are looking for. And on top of that, we make sure to provide a full stack onboarding solution. So we're not just limited to wallets. We also provide things like a fiat on-ramps by working with our partners, PayPal and Sardine. We also provide NFT minting and NFT checkout to make the onboarding experience as smooth as possible. So from our experience, a lot of customers aren't necessarily just looking for a wallet solution. They're usually looking for a more holistic combination of functionalities in order to help onboard their user. So this is more on the sort of product and wallet side. Sure. The other part that really differentiates from Magic is, we're one of the few enterprise-ready providers out there. So GDPR, CCPA, SOC 2 Type 2, HIPAA, ISO. So a lot of these compliance and certifications that the enterprises are looking for, we're able to satisfy those requirements. And last but not least, it's a scalable solution. So imagine Mattel is doing a Hot Wheels launch. A lot of users are coming at the same time. The throughput and scalability of that is really, really important. Sure. Versus some other sort of more experimental approaches like MPC, which we are about 25 times faster than the fastest MPC alternative, which makes us a more compelling and reliable solution for some of these enterprises. This is a sort of patented technology, which allows us to remain non-custodial as well. If you're interested, I can kind of go into the technical later, but sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. And, I think you mentioned the scaling and for enterprises, which is key because you have these large companies, these big brands, which are looking to get into Web3. And you mentioned it's holistic. So, yeah, maybe you can tell us about that because I read what Magic offers eliminates seed phrases, but yet maintains self-custody. Tell us how that works.
Yeah. So, it's actually very similar to how a ledger or Trezor would work. So instead of having these physical hardware security modules, we have ones in the cloud, which users have access to. So Magic creates a zero trust system. So we never see the private key in any part of the flow. Like we're not generating these keys on the back end. The keys are actually generated within the user's browser, and the user interacts directly with their own hardware security modules in the cloud for encryption and decryption. So that's kind of the sort of the high level description of our system. It's not across different clouds. It's kind of centralized to Amazon. Right, but that's what allows it to be both non-custodial and also highly performant. However, it is possible to diversify in terms of the cloud vendors we leverage, but that's not something that the customers are really asking for at the moment.
Oh, sure, yeah, and look, Amazon is a trusted brand company established with their cloud-based solutions, managed blockchain solutions, and much more. So, maybe we can do a mock scenario, or maybe with one of your clients. So you mentioned Mattel. I know you guys are also working with Macys. So let's say I'm Macys. You mentioned the wallet service and the other services are white labeled. So can I take that and integrate it into the Macys app? Is that what Macys did, or did they build a separate app? Walk us through that process in how these brands and businesses can onboard.
Yeah, I'll start with the Mattel case first. It's to the end consumer, it feels like almost indistinguishable from like a regular e-commerce like shopping experience. So they actually leverage either Salesforce or Shopify under the hood for like the inventory management. It has a credit card experience for the checkout. They didn't call it NFTs or anything. It's just a virtual collectibles drop. It kind of works like a gachapon sort of experience where you open a pack, you get one rare Hot Wheels item. And then that's what the first launch around our virtual collectibles was like. So it's the Web3 aspect of it was very abstracted away. It was built on Flow in the background. It's very scalable and performant. They were able to sell 35,000 packs in just under 30 minutes. So it was a super successful first launch, and they're really happy. So they're trying to do more on top of what they did. So after they did the virtual collectibles drop for Hot Wheels, they proceeded with Barbie, and also a Hot Wheels Fast and Furious combo. And they're also building other functionalities on top of it, like a primary NFT marketplace, right, for collectors to trade with each other. They've also launched a way to burn the NFT and redeem a physical toy. So it almost is like a pre-sale sort of function. Yeah. So it's very exciting what they have in store for us. But to your question, currently the enterprises aren't necessarily wanting to offer that interoperability yet. So that's something that's on their mind. So essentially, the Mattel set of end users is for Mattel, right? Macy's set of end user is scoped to Macy's. But in the future, they might want to allow functionality to, let's say, move it to OpenSea and sell it on OpenSea or other decentralized applications or ecosystems. I do see a future potentially where brands collaborate as well, and which creates more demand for that interoperability. So for us, we take a more conservative approach based on what the customers are really asking, right? Yeah.
Sure.
Because
I was going to ask on the flip side. So let's say I'm a customer, right? Let's say I have the Mattel app. I want to get the Fast and the Furious NFT drop or whatever it may be, and potentially redeem that for, the toys and so forth. Walk me through that process. Was the service already built added to the existing Mattel app, or I had to download a specific Mattel wallet app and then I would have to sign up, and that would pretty much be it, going through the step-by-step process to claim the NFTs?
That's a great question. So I think it will help clarify more. So it's a Mattel web app. So it's not a separate mobile app or any other experience. And you can log in and create a wallet using a Mattel user account. So as long as your enterprise's identity provider supports OIDC or OAuth, we're able to plug right into that system, making it really easy for enterprises to adopt. So if you have a Mattel account already, it's a seamless experience after logging into the Virtual Collectibles website.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's really great. And talk to us about the security features, because that's going to be a question many folks want to know. Okay, it is still self-custodial. Everything's in the cloud. What if my account gets hacked? Somebody finds my password or whatever it may be. What are the security layers there?
Yeah, so we do offer a few like additional security features. If you look at security in Web3, it's essentially two parts. There's one around the key management infrastructure.
Right.
Like there's a lot of fancy ways to design that, but in the end, it kind of comes down to identity providers as well, right? The Web2 authentication part, and when we're using a Web2 login provider, it's really dependent on the security of the Web2 solution. For example, if you're using Google OAuth, that's really relying on Google's security to a large extent.
Sure.
But there's additional things that we're adding, for example, like device fingerprinting. Like we're able to detect if it's like, hey, this is like a different device. Are you sure you want to continue logging in? So we can provide some additional checkpoints and security there. Just because it's digital assets, it's very important. And if the user feels like, hey, I'm not comfortable with this, I want to go self-custodial fully, they can export the private keys out at any time and then import it into, let's say, a MetaMask or some other wallet. So it's very, very portable.
Oh, okay, got it. So as let's say I'm a Mattel user, I claim the NFT, I can, like you said, export the private keys that are in the cloud, and then store it however I would, let's say like for a Trezor or a Ledger hardware wallet and so forth, right?
Yeah, so you can export that into a different wallet. And the area of users, the segment of users we're focusing a lot on is the 99%, the beginners of the beginners who may not have interacted with Web3 before. But as they progress, we can adopt more progressive disclosure and introduce them to more and more kind of native Web3 concepts. And we never want to block their routes if they want to go completely self-custodial down the road.
Yeah, that makes sense. And, I've been talking to quite a few folks about this because they're the hardcore decentralized folks, right? Who are like, everything must be decentralized. Yeah. But I'm like, yes, but I'm thinking about my aunt and uncle, my mom and dad. They don't necessarily care about that. They understand apps now to a certain degree. They understand brands that they trust. So they would be very comfortable with letting, let's say, Macys, right? Because they shop at Macys, to be able to do that and get the NFTs. But all the other details of decentralization, they don't necessarily care about. And I think there's going to be a large segment of the population which are just going to be like, just give me what I want, and I don't care about all the details. Yeah. Now, early adopters like myself and you are like, I kind of care about decentralization. So I probably want to pull the seed phrase down and self-custody it to that degree. But, it's different flavor for different people.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's great about Web3 is that it gave people this optionality compared to Web2 before, where you have no choice but to trust these platforms. With Web3, it gives the optionality, which is already, 10 times better than the way it was. And then there's different ways. If you feel more comfortable self-custodying, you can do that. If you want to rely on someone else to do it, there's plenty of options as well. So I feel like there's more freedom and there's more flexibility in the Web3 world than it was before.
And talk to us about is the Magic Wallet service built on any specific blockchain? Is it Ethereum? And are you open to other chains? And what chains do you support?
Yeah, we started with Ethereum. Obviously, huge fan. ETH Maxi here. So starting from there, we started supporting more EVM compatible chains or layer 2 chains like Polygon or Optimism. And then we support a lot of the really common blockchains. We actually support Bitcoin as well.
Really?
Yeah. So our architecture makes it really easy for us to support new blockchains. But like Solana, Algorand, Celo, Flow, it's a big one, Near. So there's, quite a few. We support over 20 blockchains today.
Wow.
A lot of them are EVM compatible, but all the major L1s we do support as well.
So so that's where I have a question. How are you supporting Bitcoin, given that there's no smart contract technology? There's not really a layer 2 that helps it to scale to a certain degree. How are you supporting that?
So in the end, it's really around the key management, right? So the how much functionality the chain provides, that's after the key management.
Oh,
So our solution lets us easily generate a key pair on the client. So as long as there's a JavaScript library, we can generate it. So once that's generated, it could use our security infrastructure to encrypt and decrypt, making it like really easy to support new chains like Bitcoin. It's just very different from like other chains, but still it's relatively easy to support just with less functionality. But yeah, as long as there's a library that helps with the generation, it's pretty straightforward for us to provide support. Where the difficulty lies is the differences between each blockchain.
oh, sure.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, which chain supports what? Like, how do we make sure there's parity? If there's no parity, how do we make that clear? So that gets more complicated and demands a lot of effort. But otherwise, we try to support as many chains as we can that are relevant today. So,
And as far as the different digital assets, to confirm, the wallet functionality can support NFTs. Can it support stablecoins? Can it support the actual crypto assets like ETH,
yep.
Bitcoin, whatever, across the board, as long as it's on the blockchain?
Yep. As long as it's supported in MetaMask, it's also supported on Magic.
Okay. So let's say mock scenario, I'm Mattel and I want to give maybe cashback rewards in the form of Bitcoin or whatever. I can do that through that wallet, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's right. They'll have to use the Bitcoin SDK, right? If that's what they want to use. And then they can just drop into that wallet.
Oh, that's great. So talk to us about the different brands. We talked about Mattel and Macys. Are there other brands that are currently using Magic, and any that you can hint about that may be coming in the future?
So we just did one with 7-Eleven on the Slurpee Day. That was super fun. I did all pina colada NFTs, so it's my favorite. I think the brands are looking at us because Web3 is a very innovative way to engage with their customers.
Yeah.
No one wants to be left behind, right? So it's a new thing. They've committed to the Web3 direction, and they're doing one launch after another to ease into it, right? So, and then there's also a lot of excitement around the music and artist side. For example, Medallion is one of our customers. They work with folks like Illenium or Taiko, just to really create new ways for artists to engage with fans as well. So, and the last one is gaming. So we have a partnership with Immutable. So the Immutable Passport is actually licensing Magic's technology. So we're able to kind of provide this into the gaming vertical as well. So I think, yeah, for us, we're really about providing this infrastructure to support these new use cases that are coming up. That's more or less speculative. So that's sure. One area we're putting a lot of our focus on.
Yeah, that's great. And the industries you mentioned, gaming, music, and media and so forth, those are huge, and they have their own ecosystem and tons of creators and fans and much more. So that's really great. Tell us about you guys had raised $52 million from PayPal Ventures and some other folks. Tell us about that and that funding and how that capital is being used.
Yeah, that was a it's a fun story. I met one of the partners there in a Sichuan restaurant in in New York.
Oh,
We used to work together at Docker. It's a small world. And yeah, just after I wasn't really looking to raise at the time, and he got me to meet a couple other folks on PayPal side, and I got more excited about Web3 after speaking with them. So I can't share too much, but it's one of the companies that's really, really innovative and forward thinking
mm.
in this area. With recently the stable
Oh, yeah.
currency launch. That's a really, really big move in my opinion, especially in this regulatory environment. It's just to show the level of commitment to innovation. So I'm really excited. I think there's a lot of natural synergy as well, working with PayPal on achieving mainstream adoption even more. Like for example, PayPal has their own fiat on-ramp sort of rails now. People already have PayPal accounts, so it makes it really easy to onboard from fiat to crypto. And naturally, people need a wallet, right? So it's very there's really high synergy there. So really excited about that partnership with PayPal, but also the intent to work with large enterprises is really exciting for investors as well, because a lot of people are really hoping for like non-speculative use cases from enterprises who, with check and balances to some extent. It is a bit slower than the sort of more organic stuff in the crypto native land. But it's also very exciting because these large companies, once you get one on board, that's going to inspire a lot more distribution and adoption. So that's what we're chipping away at, and yeah, this money will help us to continuously evolve our product and build features sort of on top of our current solution that helps these enterprises be even more successful, right? Because right now it's just about wallets, onboarding, full stack, but what if there's other functionalities to help them learn from the experiments that they did and
Sure.
get to more success in subsequent launches? So
Yeah, I was actually going to ask about that. Do you guys have plans to add other features, other lines of services and products and so forth, and maybe what's on the remainder of your 2023 roadmap?
yeah, I mean, one that maybe kind of no-brainer for us to do is insights and analytics to support these customers. So that would be one that we are looking to support. But what we're really focused on now is what the customers need in terms of the use cases is what we are building towards, right? What we realize is that enterprises don't necessarily want to piece together like just different solutions and do legal redlining with different vendors. They're more or less looking for more full stack solution, right? So we're able to kind of work with them firsthand to learn about their needs and use cases, and just building towards just like traditional way, right? Like just work closely with customers, build things people want, and be really grounded and practical in that sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because to your point, like you want to build for the customers and their needs, right? Versus what you think they may need. But, I think doing the homework and the research, okay, where are we at this point in time and what will help them to onboard, what will help these brands? Because look, they're in the business of making money. They want to keep customers and you mentioned you're going to do insights and analytics so they can, track these campaigns. What business did the NFT drop generate and all that jazz, right?
Right.
That's super important. So a hard question for you, Sean.
Yeah.
to your point, like, there's a lot going on right now in Web3. You guys I think, are ahead of the curve, with the solution you're building, customized for these brands and much more that they can plug and play. When do you think we hit the tipping point for Web3 to bring the next billion people, where it's like my mom is like, oh yeah, I'm using Macys app and I got this NFT and I'm getting this dress or this purse or something. Is it 5 years away? Is it next year? Hard question. What do you think?
Yeah, of course. I think about this a lot. Like, it has to make sense to me to keep to keep doing this. So in my perspective, it's not really about moving the world to Web3. Like, people here in Web2, all right, Web3. It's more like, here's some interesting Web3 technology. Let's bring that to Web2. And it's a more organic and natural and phased approach. Then it's like, all right, here's like the cliff, right? Let's get everyone over. I think it would happen a bit more organically. And, I feel like the world is, there's sort of a trust crisis going on in our society. And if there's one technology that solves trust, that's blockchain. And other advanced cryptography. So and there could be a phase where we need to reintroduce that trust, right, into the ecosystem, and it will happen like one after another one. Maybe it's banking, right? Maybe it's brand trust restoration. Maybe it's social media. So there's a lot of ways it could pop off, especially facing AI, right? Like, it could be that it's difficult to know what's authentic versus not. And blockchain could serve a pretty important function there. So I feel like we're at the cusp of that. And I feel like the infrastructure side is getting really, really close too. So in the next wave, with the next use cases, I think it could really catapult us into a new territory there.
Speaking of the next wave, and I was looking at Magic's Twitter feed, and one of the things you guys recently, actually today, you tweeted about juggling multiple streaming subs, fractionalized NFTs, introduce a pay-as-you-go model. You highlight HBO Go, Hulu, Netflix, Prime, Amazon Prime, Apple TV. Tell us about that, and what are you building there that maybe you could be pitching to Netflix and these other subscription models?
Yeah, it's something that kind of came up in one of my conversations with folks. It's like, today I have like 11 subscriptions to watch the stuff I want.
Yeah.
That's just not really a good consumer experience anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone is like competing for that account, and it's just it's a terrible experience for consumers, and it's like very costly as well. Like, why have 11 subscriptions when I'm only watching one thing on Hulu, for example, right? So there's this one theoretical idea. It's like, what if you have like pay-as-you-go streaming tokens that you can use on these platform sites, right? That could be really really cool use case. It's great for the consumers, and it's a great way to drive volume into different streaming services as well. Kind of like airline miles or like loyalty programs with a consortium of brands and companies. I think that could be a potential big use case for Web3. You can have streaming tokens. You can have news tokens. I have a lot of subscriptions on news as well. Or like shopping, right? It's like, hey, one shopping point for Walmart and Target, right? Like there's a lot of possibilities there, and it's going to be better user experience and value for the end consumers. And I think generally, the market ends up being the best for consumers. So I think it's definitely an interesting direction.
Yeah, I think that totally makes sense. I've been talking a bit about it on the podcast, and correct me if I'm wrong here. Would it be like in addition to the existing fiat models and you pay monthly, yada, yada, right? There was a general, like you said, streaming tokens, and all these different providers agreed that they will accept this token. I can then go buy that token. And then let's say this month, oh, this is a show on Hulu. I don't really want to watch anything on Netflix, but I'll use some of this token to watch something on Hulu. But then next month, Netflix launches this new series. I'm like, oh, I want to go use it. I can pay the token there. And the token in the open market has value, of course. And I can also resell those tokens to the secondary markets and much more, right? Is that the gist of it?
Yeah, I think that's like the end vision. It will probably manifest into something a little less complicated for the mainstream. It's really like your Nintendo coins you can use in these places, right? And then eventually, maybe it will become a more like open ecosystem kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah, I'm very fascinated by the token economy and and the different ecosystems, gaming, movies, music, and so forth. So it's going to be really interesting. I got some questions I want to ask you about the general crypto market as well. You mentioned PayPal stablecoin launch, which was pretty big. They did it on Ethereum. Do you see a lot of brands, given that you're working with some brands, they may launch their own stablecoins as well that maybe works within their own ecosystem? Could Amazon launch a Prime coin, right? Things like that. But what do you think about the stablecoin market?
Yeah, I think it's a great way to potentially cut costs on like cross-border payments. That's a really interesting direction. I mean, a lot of companies already do that, like with like Nintendo coins and whatnot. It's just not on the blockchain, right? So I think my perspective is stable coins are going to be inevitable in these platforms. I think it's a matter of like regulatory scrutiny at this point. But once there's a bit more clarity on that, I do foresee a lot more stable coins come up.
And then look, just a couple of months ago, we had BlackRock, the world's wealthiest asset manager, enter the crypto market looking to get a Bitcoin spot ETF. Then you had a whole line of companies and from Wall Street trying to get ETFs as well. Do you feel we've hit a tipping point in institutional crypto adoption that, once they were all against it, there was a lot of FUD, a lot of doubt. Now they're all bullish on it. It seems like we've hit a new tipping point. What do you think?
I'm definitely optimistic about this. I think if this ETF gets passed, that's huge for the space. It kind of really legitimizes it as an asset. So for me, I'm very excited for that to happen, and for Bitcoin to become a viable kind of asset, and more people will be able to get exposure to it through the ETF, which is huge.
Yeah, for sure. And then, it starts with a Bitcoin ETF, then they'll eventually go to Ethereum and all the altcoins and baskets of altcoins and things like that. So it's exciting. You mentioned you're bullish on Ethereum and you're a fan of it. I guess a random question for you. There's a lot of layer 2 solutions out there, right? Sometimes I can't keep up. I'm certainly a fan of Polygon, Matic. Do you which ones do you think are the clear leaders so far as layer 2 scaling solutions for Ethereum?
I'd say it's hard to say at this point, honestly. I'd say, to me, just coming from my past experiences, I feel like the chains that are able to get significant and concrete distribution, those are the chains that are likely going to succeed in the end. And I'm talking about it this way because it works the same way with technology. Like for example, this Linux flavored operating system, that wasn't the best solution back then, but it did get a lot of adoption and distribution, which now we're all kind of using it. So I feel like, in the end, it's about the use cases, the distribution and adoption on this technology. And I think the ones that are last are going to be the ones that provide like real concrete value, right, to the ecosystem. So So for me, yeah, I generally tend to lead on the ones that are getting a lot more adoption, like real adoption, right?
Right.
So
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, proof is in the pudding, right? If you're getting real world adoption, real use cases, that's the key versus speculation.
right, or just purely on tech. It's like, okay, my tech is better than your tech. I
yeah.
don't know. Like in the end, it's about the adoption. And I've seen a lot of operating systems that were kind of phased out because it's the greatest tech, but people didn't get it at the time, and there's adoption elsewhere. It happens a lot in sort of other technology trends as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now we talked about NFTs. Magic supports NFTs, so I think we know NFTs are going to be part of the future of commerce and much more. What do you think about the metaverse? One could argue we are in Metaverse 1.0 because we're communicating with each other digitally, but we're not immersed. Like you and I are not sitting in the same room, so to speak. What do you think about the metaverse, and when could we eventually see a product that is consumer ready, where Facebook's not losing billions of dollars, and we're at Metaverse 2.0.
Yeah, I think it's a very loaded word with a lot of different definitions. So, like for example, it could be immersion, right? It could be like digital interactions.
Mm.
It could be like commerce in the metaverse dimension, right? Like it could be a bunch of things. And to me, I have the Facebook, the Oculus, Quest Pro. I
Yeah,
have one in my home. I like using it. Actually, pretty nicely done in terms of the hardware.
sure.
There's not a lot of like fun software to use on it, but like it's a really nice device. And so I think on that area it's going. But in my perspective, the metaverse has already kind of happened. Like any MMORPG is sort of a metaverse already.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, like Minecraft, it's a metaverse. It's just maybe as someone who is born in the mix between like pre-internet and post-internet, I'm not so embedded into the metaverse compared to like the next generation and younger folks.
Sure.
But I do see a lot of potential there. Like I played a lot of Minecraft as well when it first came up. It's got more complicated than I can handle now, but it was yeah, it was great. I love playing MMORPGs. It's a different way to experience the world that is not so like bricks and stones and like materialistic. It's a lot of fun. So I think, yeah, like maybe for metaverse, I don't believe in like working in an office in the metaverse. That's like kind of boring.
Sure.
But like, yeah, maybe something a bit more fun. Maybe there will be a new kind of economy that is born from this more immersive experience. To me, it's a mindset of abundance, right? That's going to be really, help make things a bit optimistic. It's obviously going to take time in terms of immersion, but I do think it's moving towards the right direction.
Yeah, and I'm curious as to when that's going to happen. But I guess we get the hardware, the technology has to catch up. Personally, I'm like you. I born pre-internet, and grew up with the internet, of course, but I still enjoy the real world and being out in the real world. But I wouldn't mind, honestly, if I could. There's a certain product I want to view, and I could put on the headset and go into a Nike store and look at a sneaker and manipulate it and look,
Mhm.
see you like real time, not like pixelated, whatever, but just like high res images and imagery, and it's proportional and things like that. Um, I wouldn't mind being able to do that at certain points, not all the time. I still enjoy going to an
Sure.
actual physical store, but I think that would be cool. And then like different experiences, like let's say I want to view a certain place before I go travel to it, and I can
Mhm.
navigate the streets easily. And once again, high quality, high res, not pixelated, not photos, but like actual, moving. I can see people walk by, I can hear the sounds. I wouldn't mind that, but I think we got ways to go before we get to that.
Yeah. I think we might see it pop up more just in terms of like fan and influencer engagements. Like for example, like Travis Scott doing a thing in Fortnite. Maybe that on steroids, right? Like it's just more immersion and better, higher quality engagement with folks. I think that's what like people are like really eager to get in this in this world.
Yeah, that's a great one too. Like if I can't travel to a concert, but I can tap into it via the metaverse and have that, a bit of the real world experience, the live feed, quality images and imagery. That would be great. So I got some wrap up questions for you. And guess what? The first one is, if you could create your own metaverse, what would the theme be about? I'm assuming it might be gaming for you.
Yeah, just something fun and different. But I do like nature as well. I really like Big Sur. Maybe something similar to that landscape would be really nice.
Sure. All right. So I got some rapid fire questions for you. Favorite food?
I like sushi. Yeah, Japanese.
Japanese. Yeah. Favorite musician or band?
Man, I like Blackpink.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie. I do like The Prestige.
Oh, yeah.
It's where the name Magic was inspired from.
Oh, really? That's a good movie. It's one of my favorites. And obviously two great actors in that, but that was really good. Favorite book?
I'm reading one recently. It's called The Fourth Turning. So it's about like history repeating every 80 to 100 years. And there's 4 seasons to each cycle. It's really, really interesting. And it is sort of predicting some really large trends in that's coming up based on history. So,
oh, that's awesome! I got to check that one out.
Yeah.
And when you're not working at Magic, what are you doing for fun as a hobby?
A lot of jazz music. So before
nice.
I kind of went on the software engineering path, I was playing the saxophone a lot in 5 bands. And played a lot of jazz, a lot of improv music, but had to work 5 jobs to make a living. And my dad told me, if you do software engineering, you can just work 1 job and play music. So, that sounds cool. I like computers, so that's what happened. But I still play. I love music, so.
Yeah, me too. If in the ideal world, I play guitar and I would be a guitar player in a band. But that doesn't pay the bills. So I play for fun. It's my relaxation. So I can certainly understand your perspective on that.
Yeah.
Sean, pleasure chatting with you. I really love what Magic is doing, and I would love to have you back on in the future, as you guys launch new partnerships, new features, and much more. But thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thanks for hosting me.